to be made that you could actually go into a very supportive build. And once again, double down on the fact that we've got shields and all these cooldowns to make sure that our Yone and Lucian can 1v9. Certainly a very different take on how they want to approach things here in game number 2. It was a very one-sided affair, though, for Mammoth, as they come into this one with a different tune of their own, a Varus Ashe that looked to really do it all, as that is the lane that we target at the level 1.
You can see the double Doran's Blade here from Mammoth, opting to not take the support item and instead go for the combat power that those 2 starter items provide you. River will get found out here, but nothing too much to be expected as he dodges the Q. A nice little tread for himself to start off the game, but we already mentioned how important this bot lane would be, how volatile it can be given every single member down there is squishy. So those extra combat stats from Mammoth will be all important in securing priority, in securing the push in this lane.
That's what it's going to come down to once again, isn't it? The fact that the lanes can get broken open that easily. It just provided too much pressure for Mammoth to exert and do as they please. And certainly, it's a clean slate and a great chance now for Direwolves to showcase really what they have been working on behind the scenes with the roster shuffle, with all these games away from the limelight. A roster that feels a little bit more fitting now, you'd say, here, with Emphis, despite being a carry player, should be quite familiar with the LeBlanc matchup, given it's one of his best.
Yeah, I would say his best, right? The champion he always tended to gravitate towards on his earlier splits. And Karma as well, something he's quite familiar with, so definitely a mid lane in which he has experience. The question is, though, how does he contend? Because in the 1v1, you're kind of fine against the LeBlanc, right? The only danger really comes when a Lee Sin starts to get involved, when you start to have those chains coming through, chaining into a Sonic Wave. And that's when you can really start falling down. But you can see River will force the hop start out of Nectar here. A nice little adaptation from this top laner to avoid taking a dangerous trade in the early game.
And it certainly is one of those cases where, I hate him, I love him. It's always a case of I'm going to be aggressive no matter what I am playing. Even if I'm sure he's forced to play something like a Cho'Gath, it would probably be a carry at the same time. No need for a bruiser. Lisa has it all stolen away by Dajong. And life in the jungle doesn't get much easier.
I mean, that's huge, Skimmy, because that means Lisa doesn't tick level 3 after clearing those 3 camps. It means that his ganking now is very far delayed. There's a bit of trading in the bot lane. But it means that this Sejuani will be even further behind compared to this Lee Sin, who is already feeling pretty nice on his 4th camp now. Sorry, just finished his 4th camp and making his way down towards the bot side. There's a stacked wave. Gudo looks like he wants some blood.
Certainly is keen. A start this strong would really put them in good stead again. The harass that can come out from these two is enough to make sure that they're low enough for Gudo to secure the kill. With that Sonic Wave, Asta gets the aggro, dashing away, safeguard to safety, and it is executed perfectly.
Oh, Skimmy, he flashes into the Lee Sin Q. That absolutely hurts from the Direwolves bot lane. Simply just a nice path there from Gudo. Realizes the Lee Sin is going to be topside. There won't be a jungle answer to the stacking wave that's coming in, and we can take a look at it again. So it starts off with a nice little aggro tank from Asta here, and the Q, crucially from Gudo, he throws it quite a far ways away, but still lands, still picks up the kill, and thanks to some nice turret aggro juggling, they managed to get out without a single death.
Yeah, so squishy at the level 3 mark, but the ability to do enough damage to get the aggro to flash away and to live to fight another day is, yeah, pretty remarkable. But it does mean that Asta can go back to base now, pick up that support item, and feel rewarded by the fact that they do go for that double door and start because it's snowballed effectively.
Serrated Dirk online for Doc here. Definitely a very potent Varus. So we check in with the top lane. River was able to get a cheater recall, as is kind of expected in this matchup. You know, Yone, a very strong level 1 champion, kind of dictates the flow of the game. Is Lisa's bot lane, there is no flash here.
Here's the flash, jump on his face, Duck with no flash, knows that he's in a lot of trouble, and same could be said here for Asta. Fantastic read from Lisa to know that this can take place. Find the avenue and for it to not be warded and protected. Gudo just lagging a little bit further behind.
Really nice trade there. A window of opportunity that Lisa has correctly identified with no flashes on the bot lane of Mammoth. So they will get 1 kill back. 2 kills rather. 1 going over to Katsuri on this Lucian, which is absolutely where you need these kills to go, right? I mean, besides River, he is basically all of your team's damage. And we saw last game what he could do. Even in the face of a disastrous situation on the rest of the map, he's always capable of providing that damage. So Katsuri in a very nice spot to start this game.
Yeah, definitely cannot afford for either of those carries to fall behind. They need to be that strong point. And Katsuri opting for the press the attack rune choice is going to make sure that if he does get a chance to double tap anybody, they are going to receive a world of pain. Well, Lisa, with a nice reset after having found that kill, is going to then turn his attention towards these Void Grubs and make sure that members do not get Exodia and pick up all 6. Meanwhile, some fancy feet in the mid lane mean that both members find themselves stuck in place, but Emphis a little bit worse for wear.
Emphis will be a little bit worse for wear as the Grubs are taken here by Lisa. You can see that gravitating towards this top side of the map has been successful for him with this Yone pairing, providing so much threat. You know, if you get caught out by a single spell, you can fall down, but this looks like a bit of deja vu here. There's no flash on the bot lane of Katsuri. Here's the dive.
Here's the dive, there's the GP. Katsuri, the focus, dashing away, receiving a heal, and still shielded and protected. The Fate Seal coming out! And it's Asta that gets denied by the tower. It's Yone that picking up the kill as River TP's in beautifully. And Emphis that rotates down. This is the protection that they need.
Nice flash.
There is the kickback to make sure that he's stuck in place. And there it is. Handed across to River again. What a fantastic turnaround.
River has absolutely turned it around this game, TPing in to save the dive. It looked very similar to the dive that originally went so Mammoth favored, but crucially the Yone is there. As we take a look again, you can see the instant that a commitment is given, the Yone TP is channeled, and Katsuri luckily managed to live through all of this damage thanks to the W from Milio as well as that warm hug. And River on the back end of this flashes to save Shinky here. I'm not sure if he needed to do that, but it still is a nice play nonetheless. And the Yone, an absolutely huge benefactor out of this play.
Exactly what you want. Your Lucian doesn't die. Your Yone is rewarded for the fact that he makes that visit from top to bot. And they get ahead. I mean, this is phenomenal that Katsuri doesn't fall down in that play with the amount of aggro that went his way. He dashes and just sits beside that cozy campfire and says, I'm trusting in my supports here. Please keep me going. No, this really
this is risky here.
Yeah, his Nectar is going to crest across into Mega Gnar, hits the stun. Has the ult. And I think River, for all the compliments we provide him with, maybe in a sticky bit of situation, is going to dash out the boulder. The flash forward, missing the stun! Oh my god, look at the smile on River's face.
It's brutal from Nectar there. You have to imagine that he probably used the ult earlier to shove out the wave when River did use that TP, so crucially doesn't have that available. Otherwise, would have just been a solo kill going over to that Gnar. Crucially though, River will stay alive here. Pretty even in the CS department in the top lane, so losing that flash really does hurt Nectar. Now there is certainly a window where this Yone can get down towards that kill as it's been found in the bot lane.
So he has been found in the bot lane. He jumps on in with the Glacial Prison and locks down his Freylog counterpart. Asta is gone, Ash is removed, 2 members of Mammoth are rotating, and Gudo is on hot pursuit, looking for the Dragon's Rage. And one target of mine, Shinky knocks into Lisa, which spoon feeds the kill to Dark. Well, that's fantastic. The flash forward piercing arrow as he picks up a double.
Anything you can do, I can do better, say Mammoth. This is the power of that Lee Sin LeBlanc. A very nice kick coming out from Gudo to not only kick Shinky back in, but also to hit Lisa on the back end of that. And as soon as the play goes in the favor of the Direwolves, it's answered back by Mammoth. Duck now, the benefactor, sitting at 3 kills. A very strong position for this Varus, who is now up a decent amount of CS as well.
He certainly is, yeah. Gonna be feeling pretty good about the way that this one has played on out. And opting for the lethality variant, as to be expected of a double Halo Blade setup, is going to be feeling pretty strong. We can see how it all starts off initially. It's just Asta getting aggressive, sidestepping everything, but then getting called out by Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa just here at the right place, right time. Unfortunately, the flash doesn't come out for the Sejuani ultimate, so him getting clipped by that is basically a death sentence. But while Direwolves are busy chasing Duck, here comes Gudo, and it's this kick again. He feels like he almost always has a fantastic kick up his sleeve. And Duck here, just with the tip of that quivering arrow, manages to hit onto Shinky for the double.
Out of the replay and back to what feels like Gudo never actually left, as he's stealing away some Gromp cams right now, but Katsuri with the cozy campfire doing a lot of damage. Emphis here to rock up as well. And pick himself up an assist. Meanwhile, topside is Lisa also doing some cannon juggling of his own, offering so much protection for River to crash this fairly stacked up cannon wave. And falls Nectar back, who is without that flash.
That's a tragic death there from Gudo. I'm not sure what he was doing. Not really respecting the move that Empress has and the priority that Direwolves were able to use to come down and contest that Krug camp. But him dying is really big because it enables this window where Lisa's already topside for him to take basically everything. One grub will go down, second grub to follow as well. That's 5.
Certainly is. Ashult from the base not going to connect because Direwolves have already disengaged away from this one. They're happy. A 6 would be a luxury, but 5 is fantastic. And a team that wants to be aggressive in terms of the Yone and Lucian pushing up, well, they've just been handsomely rewarded. And it's a complete turnaround from game 1. I mean, they've actually got the gold 11 minutes in. There's no concerns about the game feeling out of control.
None whatsoever, really. You feel quite comfortable looking at both of their carries now as River is looking at Nectar.
And he is looking for cheeky 1v1 right now. As he dashes on in, Solemn Bound is an afterthought. It wasn't necessary. And he gets his revenge. He feels justified for how poorly game 1 went.
Vindication must be the emotion that River is experiencing right now. As you can see, that solo kill really furthering the gap in this top lane. Nah into Yone, a very punishing matchup the second you get behind, and Yone is certainly making us aware of that fact. As the saving grace is the fact that Mammoth manages to get this second dragon. They are working their way towards an Infernal Soul, very similar to the one that they picked up last game. Would be incredibly potent if something like a LeBlanc Varus is able to get this soul.
Yeah, certainly would be. All those back-to-back would make matters worse. Speaking of some power spikes, though, to make things work in favor of Direwolves, they've picked up the Malignants. The Blade of the Rune King is there as well. And there are double bounties with 3 kills apiece on the 2 carries, the stars of the show for this comp.
And that's all you really want, right? You need those damage dealers to be ahead. But fortunately for the Direwolves, they absolutely are. And like you said, that Blade of the Rune King coming online is a huge breakpoint for this Yone, because what was once a horrible matchup now becomes even worse. River can just trade like this with no care in the world. Gudo is here though, once he comes out of the...
Oh, my heart skipped for a second there. I'm thinking, don't tell me you're going to slingshot back into the Ashult from the base. And then have Gudo ready to kill Secure. It was risky business. But even him with the emote here is, he's feeling himself.
Absolutely is feeling himself, and I mean, why not here? You're gaining the attention of 3 members from Mammoth who just want to stop a potential dive from coming through. They do also know that there's no flash here, but the ward is crucial. We'll spot them out here. And River, I mean, talk of 180s from game 1. This Fiora that was so useless and just dying time after time in the top lane to come around and have a performance like this on the Yone speaks to the resilience of a player like River.
Absolutely. It doesn't feel like the same person, quite honestly. It's fantastic how he's managed to bounce back from that 2-10 performance. Here he goes in. Fantastic flash there away from Nectar, but it's not going to change the outcome potentially. Yes, the Solemn Bound is good. And he's drop dagger as well. He's not going to die to the turret. 4-0. This Yone is an absolute menace, and can Gudo find him in time? He's gone.
Oh, it's a tragedy for the rest of Mammoth. Nectar, as Asta on the mid lane flashes out.
Wow, both the carries, both the major focal points of this comp, in a split second, have popped off and found their 4th kill.
And meanwhile, bot lane, Darjang is just getting forced out of lane by Empress on this Karma, so all around the map really plays going in favor of the Direwolves. And their prize for all those kills will be this Rift Herald. It's so important to break open mid lane against this Varus who has such good wave clear. Really turning this game around. I mean, completely night and day different to what we saw in game 1.
It really is, and it's fantastic seeing how Katsuri operates when he's got these 2 supports back to ready to back him up in this mid lane, right? You can see with the likes of Shinky and Emphis there, he takes on anybody. It doesn't matter if it is a scary LeBlanc, he's going for that 1v1. And if it's not you, it's your HP low enough that he's then turning that attention towards the tower for that one to be melted like butter. We'll run back to the replay again, because it's all this aggro initially in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's a very dark spot of the map for Mammoth here. You can see that both of these ranged carries needing to pay respect, and Lisa just finds Asta again. It feels like every time he gets caught by a Sejuani ulti, that flash is there, but it's just too late. And Asta falling down again. It's his 4th death. This Ashe not having the value you'd hope as Gudo is looking for Emphas.
Oh no, the anti-synergy between the Keck and the Ash ult doesn't really work in his favor, and Gudo gets punished for the miscommunication. Dajong is here. The chain looks nice, but even he's forced to distort away to safety. There is no collapse from mid to bot, and the damage continues as Katsuri kills Varus across the wall. That flash looked good, but those auto attacks were always going to connect. Meanwhile, topside, I mean, it just goes from bad to worse. Everywhere, Direwolves are just winning.
Complete slaughter on the bot lane. Gudo looks for a kick. It's a good kick, but there's just no damage to flash it up. Meanwhile, Nectar.
The squishy mini, and a mini Nar cannot survive that one. These ultimates, these glacial tombs, they just lock him in place. And River loves life. That last pick of the Sejuani pairing so beautifully.
What has happened? It almost feels like a complete reverse. You switch the nameplates around and I could have told you that this is just game one all over again. But Direwolves, every side of the map, they are winning. The bot lane, they find the turnaround with Emphas being unbelievably tanky. And topside, it's all about River. But let's take a look at this 80 carry 1v1 in the mid lane. Duck actually opts into this. The Chains of Corruption do go out onto Katsuri. But it's just the illusion. Once you actually get into auto attack range of this champion, he is so far ahead and he will gun you down.
And it just seems so bizarre to me, Max, when you have got a build designed to poke that you want to engage him in a straight fight head on. In Lucian should just be winning that every day of the week. Rev obviously copying so much damage here, and Nectar feeling strong, but just doesn't respect the amount of range that the Yone ult can cover.
Yeah, he feels a bit baited by those two turret shots of River tanks, thinking the Yone is so squishy that he won't go in, but if there's one thing we've learned about River, it's the fact that he will always be looking to go in. You can see they're harassing Gudo as he tries to take that Grom. And that sole point that we talked that would be so deadly if Mammoth got it, Direwolves are making sure that remains a distant possibility.
Certainly are. 5k is the deficit now. Direwolves well and truly in the lead with their carries 10-1 as the combined score. They are a force to be reckoned with, and Emphas quite content. Not necessarily grouping up with the rest of the team right now, right? He's already got himself the Malignance. Is he going to opt in for even more damage? It doesn't seem like he's got any care in the world about picking up support items, or he certainly would be grouped with the rest of his team. Lisa more so acting like a support on this occasion as Dajong pops out of the bush, hits the chains and says, I'm terrified of this Yone. Snap back, break his ankles, hit the flash and dodge out on the Glacial Prison.
Gudo might have found Emphas here.
Yeah, Emphas, however, is going to fall on down eventually. Finally giving Nectar a bit of reprieve. It's been rough this game. A complete 180 from last. He's no longer the Ood yet, but gets himself that first kill.
And Asta with the Ash Arrow is really the hero of that play. Cross map finds its way onto Emphas. Oh, Dajong, a nice predict from River.
Really nice side step though, however, on the ultimate AR after. It's fancy feet from these two as the chains go out, the dash on back and the flank from Nectar. A level advantage for River here, and he's got no HP to boot, but we've seen him take these gambles before. The W, the shield is fantastic. He leaps on in, he dashes, gets knocked on up, and Nectar says, how does this happen? This champion's not balanced.
Oh,
he flashes there afterwards, finds the second onto Dajong that had been ever so elusive, but then the support Ash finally ends the show, takes him down, and forces Lisa to slowly get whittled down.
Oh, it feels like it's inevitable, but River is just finding kill after kill. He turns on the TP instantly, says, thanks for that one, Nectar. I'll take you down, and takes down Dajong as well. He's just incredibly fed on this Yone now. You can see the Infinity Edge, him just picking that up as well as another crit cloak. Let's take a look again because it's a nice TP. It's a nice idea to collapse upon these Direwolves members, but they just don't respect the fact that River is so far ahead of Nectar, he can completely run him down in the 1v1, and then a very nice flash forward onto Dajong, who doesn't have the passive because of that earlier play, right? There's no confusion to be had. It's just simply a question of DPS, and that Yone has that in spades.
He certainly does. I mean, this guy plays from ahead, no matter what his KDA is. He could be, 2-10 like last game, and he's still going to go forward. He's still going to press the agenda that we are aggressive. We want to win out this game, and we want to see where our gold is right now. Both the carries to the Direwolves comp have 9,000 gold, the most in the game. The only person close, rather, is Duck at 8, and he's already got himself 2 lethality items complete. But this is a Direwolves that have been rejuvenated. I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in their coaching conversation and hear what they had to say between games 1 and 2.
Yeah, it would be definitely interesting to hear the conversations that have been taking place there, because really it does feel like a whole different mindset from this team. No longer are they just taking reckless trades. Instead, they are very measured here. They are very keen to move around the map, but the arrow does land.
Perfect ash ult straight down the belly of the beast in the mid lane. The corruption's coming out as well, but Emphasis rocks on up, and Shinky cleanses him out of harm's way. River airballs the ultimate, but he still gets the kill onto the most fed member of Mammoth and pursues more. Vision is gained, and then Baron is certainly considered on spawn.
Baron definitely will be the consideration here. No Gudo means no Smite. No Varus either to potentially steal with a Q. And Direwolves 20 minutes into this game there will send River out as kind of a welcoming party for the rest of Mammoth. He's in a pretty precarious position once he takes that E back though, Skimmy. He might just fall down.
He might die before it even happens. The shield is there. The knock back the kill, and Nectar flashing on in with the ultimate, looking to try and deter them from taking this Baron any further. They've stopped it for the meantime. The Baron well and truly has reset. They had to certainly expend a fair bit to make sure that was a possibility. I think River there, as we said before, knows no bounds. There is nothing in his vocabulary known as passive.
No, definitely not. Even when it is kind of to his demise there, as you saw. Could have just hit the Baron and tried to play to turn. But let's take a look again. You can see Gudo goes for the flash kick, but it's a really quick reaction from Katsuri on that relentless pursuit to get him out of harm's way, secure the angle so he doesn't get kicked back to the rest of the team, and then from there, River is so strong from this flank position. Enables him to head towards the Baron. And really, Skimmy, it's just a bit of over-eagerness here from River. He doesn't need to go over here. The rest of Direwolves are still hitting this Baron, and there's no Smite to contest it. But instead looks for more. Like you said, doesn't know what the word passive means. Unfortunately, that will put a stop to the Direwolves Baron's plan.
Which seems bizarre, given that your comp is fully built around the Lucian and the Yone. You'd think, surely, yes, zoning is fantastic, but just take that Baron. Your team were in such a prime position to guarantee it. Ultimately, it decides against it in the end. More items confirmed as the Horizon focus comes out now for Emphas. Even more vision reveal as they look to continue to be aggressive in the face of adversity. The Baron obviously was reset. I'm not going to return to that anytime soon, but Katsuri certainly is going to remind Duck who is the boss in this bot lane. Flash is expended, and HP is lost as that mid lane tower now is looking a little bit worse for wear.
Definitely is looking a bit sad there, that mid lane tower, as River feels all too comfortable soloing this dragon. Lisa once again has found Asta.
Certainly has. Facial Prison isn't going to hit anything right now, but Permafrost is good, and that's all the invitation Katsuri needed to then unleash all that damage as a 6-1 carry.
No Dajang in the area means Direwolves feel completely free to continue pushing here. I wonder whether they'll crack the inhibitor. Looks like that will be what they want to go towards. So get yourself some more pressure in that mid lane to open up this Baron. And meanwhile, yes, Dajang gets this tier 1 turret, but look at bot lane. River's cracking open the second tier turret, which is worth so much more. Gold in hand. They're going to base, and you'd have to imagine head out to this Baron.
Certainly would be. It'd be absolutely crazy if they're the crew. If the game even were to go that late as well for back-to-back Infernal Dragons. An extra, what, 12% extra damage? Certainly doesn't feel too bad when your comp needs as much damage as it can find, and they aren't in any risk or feeling like they are behind when that is the bailout potential. Katsuri face checks everything, nearly falls on down. Nearly actually ran into the Sonic Wave, but in comes Lisa, looking to try and zone them down, hits the ultimate in their face. There is that fate sealed, and their fate most certainly has been sealed, because for the second time in a row, Gudo is the first casualty.
Gudo will fall down, that's huge. There's no Baron Smite threat for the side of Mammoth. Kind of like deja vu, but this time hopefully River has learnt his lesson, won't go over needlessly. It's looking like a Direwolves Baron.
He's gone across the wall, but this time he's got the soul to return back to inside that Baron pit. He's sniped away Asta, and Nectar has flash, has ultimate, and he has so much terrain to try and make that one matter. Out goes the ultimate here from Katsuri, so in no way as the Baron gets lower and lower. It's still, as you say, no Smite still to contest this one. It's at 4k, Dajang is low, Duck can only hit them with the arrows from afar. So the Baron is as good as gone.
Baron will be gone, and with it, so do Mammoth's hopes. It really feels like at this stage, Katsuri and River can do whatever they want, and there is simply not the damage to be able to kill them. It was a really nice play by Gudo and Dajang to try to catch out Katsuri, but even this Lee Sin and LeBlanc point-blank range are unable to take down this Lucian when Shinky is around. So with Baron in hand, they're sending people bot lane. They already have the supers pushing in mid. It's just a matter of time before they get the waves and start pressuring these turrets.
And it must be frustrating for Dajang in particular, right? You're playing a LeBlanc that wants to try and be aggressive, but it's been an incredibly quiet game for him. 0-1-4 at the moment. has picked up that Dark Seal, unable to really find much more than just the 3 at this stage, as River is literally doing as he pleases. Why wouldn't he be? It would almost feel uncharacteristic if he wasn't just fully sending it right now. Gets kicked, gets hit with some chains, and finally gets locked on down.
He's just having fun with it here, Skimmy. Like, he really is just going 1v5, going in as deep as he wants, and trusts that his team will be able to clean up whichever is left on the back end. You can see that this Lucian now 6-1 and 4, 3 items. So strong with this double support comp to empower him. Really feels like anyone who walks up will go down, and that might be Dark.
Certainly looking like the case right now. At least has no ultimate. It's not going to deter him from being aggressive as Katsuri. Actually looks like a front line with 2 supports ready to empower him. He knows he's got the damage, he's got the protection, and he's got the ability to single-handedly win this game whilst they wait for River to respawn. Stuck down for 30 seconds. And Guro respawns and gets themselves back into the thick of things, but they've taken 2 inhibitors. They're getting closer and closer to find themselves that very first point.
Yeah, their first point, which feels ridiculous to say given how dominant this game has been, but really has been a case that up until now, Direwolves haven't shown this side of them. They haven't shown this dominance from River and Katsuri. You know, he's always been a consistent performer, but it's those members around him who have really stepped up to the plate in this game. And, you know, whilst it isn't done, looking at the inventories of this Yone, of this Lucian, it almost feels like it is. All that's left is to head towards this top lane, break up in that 3rd inhibitor, and end the game.
It feels like to me like the strongest redemption arc I've seen in a very long time. From 10 deaths to 10 kills. It doesn't really get much better than that. As Guro gets completely bullied out of his own jungle. Everything chucked at him, and despite not hitting, is enough to force him back at 40% HP. 20 seconds left now on this Baron. Final play would be to knock on that top. The ult comes out here from Katsuri. If they can get down the triple inhibitor, then they would be sitting really pretty. The Ash ult goes wide. The Chain of Corruption's instantly cleansed by Emilio. And now it's a 4v5 base defense. And look, River's not even there. He's sieging mid.
River will be walking the wave in mid here. You can see how much power this Lucian has to dash forward with the 2 shield champions to empower him. And with Nectar dead, that's so much of your frontline, so much of your tankiness out of the window. They don't even care about this 3rd inhibitor. They want to go for the end.
They certainly do want to go for the end right now. As one next turret falls on down, Guro jumps in as River snaps on back. The 2nd turret soon to crumble. 5 Void Grubs. Just too much to bear, especially when you're surrounded by 15 billion super minions as well, knocking on the front door, saying hello to that Nexus, and saying, Direwolves, that really was a series of 2 halves as they get the victory here.
Where has this Direwolves been?